key in this understanding of layout and where placement goes in grids. I'm going to bring this line up to this cross point and this up to here. And again, I'm going to join something to something. All right, so again, in Illustrator, there's a lot of helpful tools. I'm going to select both of these boxes and make them aligned. Instead of trying to press buttons, I will align them to their lefts. And now making sure they're both selected. Click, hold the Shift key, click again. These two black rectangles are both selected, and I'm going to go to Window, Pathfinder. Now, there are actually a lot of combinations of ways that you can click on the Pathfinder buttons. But there are some sure ways and some a little bit more complicated ways. There are two rows here, the shape modes and the pathfinders. Shape modes are live interactions which are really helpful when you're doing complex like architecture, but most of the time in graphic design you're going to use these, which are ways of dividing shapes permanently with other shapes. And so I want to make these into one shape, and when I click this button, it's merge. It now has made that an L shape. It is not a group of two shapes. It's a new shape, as if I had drawn that L by hand. That's extremely useful because it's perfect and I don't have to measure. And now here's my circle. I want this to come to the front. You could use arrange, bring to front, or you could cut it, Command X, select all, Command A, and paste it in front, Command F. All these things are in here. Edit, paste in front, paste in back. This is really important. How to paste, where you're pasting when you're pasting something, in the front, in the back. If you just do paste, it just pastes in the center of the document. That's not what I want. I wanted it to be lined up, so that's why I made that choice. And then I want this thing to be contain something, and I also want it to be a hole in the other shapes. I want there to be a gutter, so to speak. So I need a duplicate of this shape. I know it's not exactly on the dot, but now it is. When you zoom in on things, also you can be very shocked as to how close or not close items are. I really do recommend like zooming in really close. So now that's really centered. And I'm going to copy that Command C. So I just copied it. It's sitting in the clipboard. It's sitting in the clipboard until I copy or cut something else. So I'll select this shape, this L shape, Shift click with the circle shape, and I'll use my Pathfinder here to do a minus back. So if I do minus back, I get this little wedge shape. I'm going to undo. I might need that wedge, which is not right now. I'm going to send this to the back. So I'm going to cut it, select, Command B, Shift click. 1, 2 are selected. And then I want to cut away, minus back. So now I have a hole there. That's truly the shape of this thing and starts to look like a question mark and maybe any other stuff, things. So I'm going to paste that circle again, Command F, that pastes it in front, and now I want to scale it and keep the center on the same point. So I'll hold the Shift key down while I scale it, and there it is. Option key, not Shift key. There it is. So I Option shifted that. So that looks really groovy, and now I could do something different over here. So I'm going to get really fancy now because I think you'll like this. So we're going to go to the Polygon tool, and that is a tool inside of the shapes. And I will press Option and click one time to open up this Polygon dialog box. That is what it is called. And I want a 6-sided polygon. That is true. And I will click OK, and now I have one. But I will change its color so I can tell it looks different from all the other things I already have. And I will move my polygon over onto this corner. And then I'm going to scale it to line up with the corner. So I'm going to hide this shape. Okay. So become familiar with your layers. I'm going to just hide that and just move this over to the edge. Ooh, ah. All right. It's still there. It's hidden. I'm going to select this one and this one. Look. Both of these, the purple one and the black one. And what do you think? Should I make a hole with it? I think so. So I want to try to cut it from the front, that's this, minus front. And then my shape is still here. So I start to see some overlaps. And so just play with that in your doodling time, in your design time. Maybe I want this to use some more polygons for textures. So here I'm going to put in some things. Here we have the first mood board layout. If you haven't laid out your mood board, get out your sketch pad and think about, just for a few minutes, designing in thirds. How many different ways can you set up your panels? When you sketch a lot, and don't confine yourself or lock yourself into one of your first or initial ideas. So you'll come back in and you will style your text. Playing with your sizes. Not all typefaces are created equal. You can see here that this Myriad Pro at 27 points is maybe even larger than or the same size as this Parents Suck font at 41 points. So be aware of that when you're taking the time to make your design. Make notes, be a reflective designer. So when it's time to make your poster, you know, you've thought about the size of your type. How big is it really? All right, so now I'm going to stop